We'll take you now to our Abuja studios, where we're being joined at this time by the former Director General News Agency of Nigeria, Akin Osuntokin. Good morning, and going straight to the matter of insecurity in the country with a view to finding solution. Our first guest, Alhaji Yerima, did say, well, the people must participate in all of this. How best can we participate as a people in helping to solve all of this, especially this menace of insecurity?
You have to decipher the mind of Boko Haram to know where their plans are going to and what plans they have. I don't think they told anybody that they are going to limit their operations to the north. And that is part of the problem. Where you have an indefinable enemy, you don't know who to talk to, you don't know the logic to the actions. So it's a problem that is tending towards anarchy. The unfortunate and tragic thing is that if it goes further south, it will assume a dimension, that will threaten in the extreme, the unity and stability of Nigeria. That is my own worry. It will provoke a backlash, that can prove extremely divisive along ethnic and sectarian lines. That's my own fear. But as I said, this is a problem where nobody can decipher the mind of, you don't know what they are going to do next, how they are going to do it. The government, you can only try to contain and preempt their actions. But it is really assuming a very alarming proportions.
Well, from what you just said, does that mean that you share the same thought and view with Dino Melai, who believes that the government is not doing enough? If you say there's just no way we can read the minds of these insurgents.
I don't. I think part of the problem is that seeing Boko Haram as an opportunity or utility to criticize the Jonathan government, that is an aspect of it that obfuscates, efforts at resolving it. Yes, of course, the government has a responsibility for the security of the country. But at the same time, the situation we have is unique. And at any rate, security is not the government's business alone. It's all of us who must be. Boko Haram is not strictly a law and order instance. It has political dimensions. And terrorism and guerrilla warfare, they are not easily amenable to conventional security measures. And so you look at the situations as unique, and on which, if this Boko Haram problem, the way it is going, if it's going to have any solution at the end of the day, that solution will be beyond, it will transcend what government, can strictly offer within the purview of enforcement and maintenance of law and order.
Well, what do you think we should be doing at this point in time, especially manning our borders? It could be interstate borders, because for the very first time we're getting to hear names of people in different localities as being, financiers or henchmen of this particular terror group, like in Kogi State. Now, some of them had to go to Edo State to take treatment from bullet wounds. Isn't that an indication that we have some porous interstate borders?
Well, I can't clearly hear what you've said, but I can catch the aspect talking about gatekeeping, at state borders. You see, as a matter of fact, I made an observation the last time I was traveling through this road from Abuja down to the south. And, we were discussing, there were checkpoints, before, almost at all the entries to the towns and everything. So it got to a point when we were somewhere in Ondo State, and I said, well, look, Boko Haram has not become a problem here, so why are these people here? Why is this elaborate security check? And I had to deduce, on my own, that look, it's probably a security measure targeting at all the borders to the states all over the country. to contain any kind of spillover effects. Well, as I said, what we have, Boko Haram, is not amenable to conventional security measures of that nature. There is a limit to what can be achieved and attained in that respect. And again, it stresses, the role, the critical nature of the role that civil society and other residual society organizations, opinion leaders, we have to play. There's even a more important dimension is what it's doing to the psychology of Nigerians. Two presidents came together the other day, President Obasanjo and President Babangida, to make the point that people are getting very cynical, about the future of Nigeria. And that is not, the government cannot persuade me, they not influence my psychology. It's not some, so it has become an issue, that really everybody, every opinion leader in this country should see it as a challenge and try and influence or join the debate in a manner, that will help the situation. I think government's efforts need to be complemented rather than being criticized at this point in time. On the issue of Boko Haram, I'm not very comfortable with the idea of using it as a whiplash against the Jonathan administration.
Now, would you opt for a dialogue just with the belligerent groups, just like the two former heads of states suggested recently?
Of course, that's precisely the point I'm making. But the government also said, well, who knows? So where is Boko Haram? Who are you going to dialogue with? And I also noticed that the comparison made with Matasini set. The Matasini set was clearly identifiable. It has a leader. It has the members of the group you can localize and isolate and know them. So, but where is the leader of Boko Haram and who is he and who are you going to talk to? The only thing that can be done, is to isolate, as them, marginalize them as much as possible, ostracize them. And that can be done at the level of, what we say about it, what Nigerian leaders say, what opinion leaders say, you've got to marginalize them psychologically, marginalize them, discriminate, isolate them, so that it doesn't seem as if there is any sympathy or understanding of whatever message they may be seeking to pass around. It's gone that past stage. Look, it's got to a stage if a group starts trivializing, the security of the country, saying that the conditions on which you can speak to the government is for Jonathan to become a Muslim. Then, of course, you see that shows the level of irrationality of what we are dealing with, and the measures, appropriate measures, to respond to that kind of situation.
Now, does the federal government have the capacity to win this war?
You are making a mistake. Terror, as I said, is beyond terrorism. This is a unique situation. It has several dimensions. The law and security dimension of it, okay, you can say that is the role of the government. That is the mandatory role of the government to maintain law and order. But there's also a political dimension to it. And that is the source of it becoming intractable. It's something that clearly, of course, I know that. I agree that the government can do better, but to see it as simply, a duty and responsibility of the government alone, I think misses the point. It's something that maybe all of us will have to chip in our own different ways, and not just sit aside and say, well, look, this is for the government alone to deal with. I don't agree. If the government fails to do it and Nigeria goes to the dogs, it's not the government only that will suffer. all Nigerians will suffer. I mean, I think I have a responsibility, you know, to contribute positively to what will stabilize and make Nigeria develop, regardless of what the government of the day is doing.